guys, what is up? My name is Megan and welcome back to Book Talk with Meg, or welcome if you're new. Today I'm here with a very exciting video, which will be the first in a new series of mine, which is, well, you've clearly seen by the title, Candyland Picks My TBR. I've been really enjoying the different board games and TBR games that have been going around where people use like Monopoly or wheels and all that kind of stuff to inspire their TBRs, and I decided I wanted to create a known version for myself. Obviously, I use the actual Candyland board, which if you guys don't know is mostly like a kid's board game, but you can play it at any age really. I decided to choose this and kind of tweak it to make it book related. So that is my version of it, but I did want to say that I'm really inspired to start this series on my channel due to channels like Becca, who creates Becca's Bookopoly, Cody from Cody's Book Corner, who has the TBR wheel. I've seen some videos of Snakes and Ladders, and there's Rachel with Rachel's Realm, and just there's a bunch of them out there. I will link my biggest inspirations in the description box, just so you guys know that this from the start was not my idea, but I did want to take part in it. So hopefully you guys enjoy TBR games, and without further ado, I'll explain how I am taking Candyland to tweak it to my TBR, and then we will start with the little spins. So for the rules, if you guys are not familiar, this is what the Candyland board looks like. Just hit myself in the head. There are 7 different colors, and you go around, and the aim of the game is actually usually to get here to the King's Candy's castle. Now, I don't really care when I get to the castle, but every month I will be starting from the previous month's ending point. So, every month I will spin 7 times, and if you guys don't know what that means, it means that the board comes with this little thing right here, and it's meant to spin and you move with the colors. Now for me, each color determines a different reading prompt, which when I fall on them will determine how I pick my TBR. Each month will have 7 rolls with the extra possible rolls due to the rules that I have put for this game. Now for the basics, we have the 7 colors, and I will put a graph on here telling you which color means which prompt, so that you guys are not confused and it's easier than me verbally saying the 7 different prompts and colors. Now, you may notice that some color blocks are full and some of them are split in 2. What this means in the Candyland world is that if I fall on a 1 block color, I just move to the next color block of that color. If it falls in a block that is split in 2, I go to the second closest block of that color to me. So that's how I move around. Also, the little candies here, they are pink, but they also mean that you go to the identified candy on the board either by moving back or moving forward. So that's the basics. Now I decided to include some different rules to make it a little bit more fun. If I fall twice in a row on the same color, I add an extra spin to my original 7 spins, so that would make it 8 or 9 or how many times it happens throughout the game. If I fall on a candy space, whether that be just originally on the board if it's where I have to go, or on this little candy spin, then that means that I will read 2 books for the same prompt. So let's say a prompt is to read a big book, then I would read 2 big books instead of just 1, so that's adding an additional challenge to it. And basically at the end of the month, if I have not read every single book that I was set out to, I add an extra spin to every book that I haven't read for the next month. So for example, if I don't read all the books, let's say I read 7 out of 10 books I'm supposed to read for February, then I will need to add 3 extra spins to my March rolls. So that's kind of my objective, to make me read off of my TBR and not just scatter my reading throughout the month. So those are it for the basic rules. Obviously I will tweak them along the way, but without further ado, we'll just hop on in, and as I fall on the prompts, I'll explain to you guys and show you the books that I decided to pick. Okay, so for the first roll, which you guys may notice I wore a different shirt during the rolls, it's just because it got really hot and that sweater was lighter. I didn't cheat, it's all filmed on the same day. But the first roll we fell on was a single block for yellow, and with my little chart of prompts, that means a random number generator. So I estimated around 170 books on my bookshelf, and I will go on a random website on my phone, and I will put in a random generator, and these are read and unread books, so I will go to the closest one that I haven't read if the specific number I fall on is a book I've already read. So let's generate a random number. 65. I will put in a screenshot because I don't think you guys are going to see that well, but let me find my 65th book and update you guys afterwards. Okay, so the first pick will end up being Dear Sweet Pea by Julie Murphy. This is a middle grade book about a plus size character, I believe, who kind of interferes with the male. I know this also has discussion of parents who are divorced, and she kind of lives between the two houses, and some problems with friends, I'm guessing. I don't know too much about it, but from what I've heard other people say, this is an important, sweet read. It's great because it's middle grade, and a lot of people do seem to really enjoy Julie Murphy's writing. This will be my first book by her, so that completes the first prompt for the yellow, which is the random number generator. The second roll ended up falling on a 1 block blue, and blue means a big book, which I for myself have determined to be a book over 450 pages because my page range usually stops at around 400, so this is kind of to get myself out of my comfort zone. So let me pick a book and I'll be right back. So the book I chose for a big book, which again is over 450 pages, is Every Other Weekend by Abigail Johnson, which was a release for the month of January. This book is actually 504 pages, so it works for my challenge. I know this is a dual perspective young adult contemporary novel that has to do with two teenagers that are in different familial circumstances, where I believe a boy lives with his dad and his mom like every other weekend. He is split and he meets maybe the next door neighbor, and they kind of strike up a friendship by living near each other in the apartment complex, and it's kind of like their story, and I'm guessing they might fall in love, and I feel like this is going to be very heart-wrenching and discuss a lot of important topics, so this is going to be added to my February TBR. The third roll we got was a double yellow, which means that I moved to the second closest yellow to me on the board, and that also means that we are doing the random number generator again. So here we go. 120 for my second one. Okay. Let me figure it out and I'll be right back. Okay, so 120 turned out to be Summerbird Blue, which I have already read and reviewed. So I went back one space to 119, and that fell on Our Year of Maybe by Rachel Lynn Solomon, which is going to be my second pick for the random generator for this month. I don't know much about this. I do know that it is a YA contemporary that features two main characters, one of them who was very sick and had a condition where he needed a kidney transplant, and I believe our other main character, who is her this guy's best friend, and also was in love with him, has a compatible kidney, and so she gives him a kidney thinking that they will eventually fall in love, but actually the boy uses this opportunity to kind of go out and explore the world, since he could not have done so in the past, and I believe he questions his sexuality, and it's kind of like the unbecoming of their friendship, or the turmoil that it may cause, and everything that goes along with it. I think this will be a very heart-wrenching novel. Very excited to add this to my TBR. next spin brought us to a single green, which means I'm advancing to the next green spot on the board, and green is to read a fantasy book. And for that I chose A Heart So Peace and Broken by Bridget Kimmerer, which is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is one of my all-time favorite fantasy books. Hopefully this holds up and becomes one of my favorite series of all time, because I binge read A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which never really happens with me in fantasy. If you guys don't know, A Curse So Dark and Lonely follows two main characters and kind of like a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Our female main character, Harper, also has cerebral palsy, which was great for me to see because someone in my family had suffered from cerebral palsy before they passed away. So anytime there is rep for that kind of stuff, it really gets me, and I really loved how it was done. I loved the fantasy elements, the kind of love triangle-ish that happens in the first book. So I'm very happy to read the sequel, which again released in January. I didn't have time to get to it, but I'm really excited for this. I might need a refresher on A Curse So Dark and Lonely, but still, I'm really excited. The next spin actually got us on a pink candy, which means that on the board I'm advancing to that specific candy, so that means we went through the little forest. And it also means that I have to pick two books for that prompt, and the prompt for pink is short books, which for me I will put a book that is less than 250 pages. Okay, after going through my shelves, I decided to pick for this prompt Come Tumbling Down by Shauna McGuire, which is the fifth book in the Wayward Children series, one of my favorite series of all time. I don't want to go into too much detail because this is the fifth book, but I'm really excited for this, and this is like not even 200 pages, so it fulfills the prompt. And the other book I decided to choose for this prompt is How to Speak Boy by Tiana Smith, I believe is how you pronounce the author's name. She's also the author of Match Me If You Can, that I have read and really enjoyed. This one is about two teenagers, and they're like debate rivals, and I guess it's kind of like a hate to love romance in a YA setting. I'm not really sure, but I'm really excited because I do really love the simplistic writing of this author, and this again is less than 250 pages, so it fulfills the short prompt. We then spin the wheel again and landed on Purple, and Purple is a book that I have previously hauled, which I don't know if my haul video will be up after this, probably, but one of the books I did haul in the month of January, which I'll put a picture because I don't know where I put it for now, but it is Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. This is a dual perspective YA novel. It's been getting a lot of hype about two kids that help their family in the restoration business, and that also communicate through this school app without knowing that they're talking to each other. And I think it's like a hate to friends to love kind of romance, and it has to do with food and obviously Twitter, where they're kind of like online rivals. So that's my pick for that prompt. And again, for the last spin of this Candyland Picks My TBR, I fell on yellow again, so another random number generator. So let's go. 95, you guys. So that's my last prompt. Let me find number 95. And for my final pick, we have A One True Love by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is great because I've been wanting to read this, but I'm kind of afraid of this book because I feel like I'm gonna get all emo with it. But this is an adult romance, and I believe that our main character's husband like dies, and then our main character kind of makes her life again, and then she falls in love with another man, they get engaged, but then her husband isn't actually dead, and so he comes back, and it's her balancing between the relationship she had and the person she was, and the person she is now, and the person she is in love with now, and kind of like deciding, I think. So I think it's going to be a tearjerker. I know a lot of people love this book, so we shall see what I think about it. So these are all the books I need to read in the month of February. I do also want to try to squeeze in Heartstopper Volume 3 that is coming out this month, but other than that, that is my priority TBR, and if I don't get to all of these books, then there will be a punishment. That's it for my video. Really hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys are reading in February, and if you want to see the rest of the series throughout the year, do not forget to subscribe. Happy reading, guys. Bye!